Empowerment Radio Show, where we continue to equip you for your spiritual journey. I'm excited today. I'm elated because I have a very, very special guest, one who is very dear to me. I consider her to be a younger sister. I don't want to call her a little sister because she is a powerful woman. Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for being a little janky today, but nevertheless, I am here. It's the first Sunday in October. I actually did something a little different today. So those of you who are on my page right now, I am actually live in the studio. This is the Empowerment Radio Show, where we equip you for your spiritual journey. So again, this is the first Sunday in October, and I'm here to equip you.
I'm sorry, are you broadcasting on your Facebook page?
I am.
Okay, because you do that through the. Okay, it's good. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I believe I am.
Okay.
It looks like I am.
I'll double check.
Okay. No problem. Studio stuff. So I'm here today, just kind of, it's going to be like a laid back show today. The Lord told me earlier this week, I was all worried. I'm like, I got to have everything put together. I got to have a guest. I got to have guests. I got to have a script. I got to have all that. And the Lord said, you know what? This is a freestyle Sunday for you. Because, sometimes you have to take a step back with everything. There's a time that you have to regroup. There's a time that you have to kind of go back to the roots and say, hey, you know what? And especially ask God, what is it that you actually want me to say? What is it that you want me to do? What's the mission? And the core mission, I want to take it back to the core mission of the Empowerment Radio Show is that we aim to equip you for your spiritual journey. Now, everybody's spiritual journey looks different. There are some spiritual journeys that are a long, winding road. There are some spiritual journeys that, it seems like the person is just on this perfect path and they just keep going and everything is great and rosy. There's some spiritual journeys that there's a whole bunch of detours, there's a whole bunch of mountains, there's a whole bunch of valleys. There are just all of the things, right? And so I wanted to just take it back to the original reason how I ended up on the radio show and how I ended up coming on. And it was really my burning for getting out to the people. My burning for people. I love people, and anybody that knows me knows that. And the one thing I saw lacking in society, and especially in the church world, was that the sense of community and the sense of belonging and the sense of feeling like I belong here, or I belong to a group, or someone's not leaving me out, or someone is not purposely not inviting me to something, or someone is just, I don't care about her. But that sense of community, I saw that was missing, and especially in the church world. And I'm a very inclusive person. I love to include people. I cannot stand to see somebody left out. I don't like to see somebody in the corner. I don't like to see somebody, we didn't invite him. We didn't invite her. Well, why? Like, what makes you so great that this other person can't be invited too? Like, why can't we all be here? And so I just had a burning for the last couple days to just talk about, let's just be real, right? Let's just talk about the things. Talk about the things that sometimes we're angry. Sometimes we're upset. We're still children of God. We still serve a great and powerful and mighty God who can do anything. But that does not mean that on this journey that you're on, whether it's the winding one I talked about or the one that's just like everything is great and you're just running straight forward to the finish line, either way, there's issues that come up. There are times when you're questioning God, like, what in the world is going on? And I know I'm not crazy, but I know there's somebody out there who is feeling the same way I'm feeling. And I'm just in this season where I'm learning so much about myself, and I love that. I'm learning about myself. And sometimes we feel like because we're in Christ or because we're in the church, we can't learn anything. We've already arrived. We know it all. Nobody can tell us anything. We have God. We're supposed to be perfect. We have God. We're supposed to know. And sometimes you don't know. And it's okay if you don't know. And I just wanted to talk for a few minutes. I may not even be the whole hour. Frank, I'm telling you right now. I may not be the whole hour. But I know that I was meant and commissioned by God to come on here today and just talk. And if there's anybody that wants to call in and they want to just talk, they just want to talk about anything, I'm ready. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Because I have my sister. I was going to ask her, but I said, oh, let me do it. Let's go.
I need somebody to
Listen,
talk.
let's go at it. Because
Let's talk,
I'll
sis.
start with one thing. I caught the last half an hour of your show right before me. So plug for Falasha. And what you were talking about, the dating thing. Oh, okay. So I'm going to put it out there. I did try the online. I didn't go on a date. I didn't swipe anybody or pick anybody. But I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-mm.
I don't feel like there's any. I know it's worked for a lot of people.
It has.
But one thing I will tell you, what it left me feeling like, it left me feeling very broken. It left me feeling empty.
Very.
It left me feeling like I'm out there on display. You know how in the grocery store they put like the best apples out,
Yep.
or they put the ones that are on display, right? I felt like I was on display, but then depending on who swiped me, chose me, hearted me, whatever the terminology is, I felt like, well, what if they didn't choose me? What if they didn't? And I'm sitting there in this display just to be gawked at, looked at, and it didn't make me feel good. And I want to talk about it. And I was so glad when I heard you talk about it, that confirmed that I said, I'm going to talk about it.
Yes.
Because for me,
guys.
no problem. As a single Christian woman, I didn't feel good. And honestly, I do this all the time, where I go on, I sign up for like 2 days.
And then
then I delete it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm seeing and I'm like, do I want to be swiped? Do I want somebody to pick me because they went like this? Oh, she looks all right. Let's
Right.
pick her.
Right.
Do I really, is that something that I want? Is that something God wants from me is the bigger question. Does God want that from me?
No, he doesn't.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. He does not want us on display at all. And yeah, it's the truth. Like, you're on this app and you're waiting for someone to pick you, or
Yeah.
you pick someone and then you're waiting to see if they're going to respond. I'm not doing that. I don't have listen. No, I let my sister convince me. She's in her 20s. I don't even know why, but I'm like, okay, maybe
Right?
maybe
Let's see.
because out of the mouth of babes, right?
Yeah.
So.
Let's see.
Yeah, no. No, never.
I couldn't tell you the loneliness that crept in. And I'm being very vulnerable and I'm being real. And honestly, I don't care anymore. So that's for the Facebook Live people that are on my page. I just don't care anymore. I'm vulnerable. I have still a singles ministry we're coming up on 8 years. And I've been as vulnerable as I can already. So me saying this stuff is not anything new.
Right.
Can you talk about? Only because there may be people who are tuning in for the
Yeah,
first
that
time
don't know
that don't
about
know
it.
about
Like
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. So I have a singles ministry that I started in 2017 on Valentine's Day called Lifestyles of the Saved and the Single. And I was coming on, the first time I came on Valentine's Day, the Lord said, come on, be there for, your single friends who might be lonely. They might be feeling some kind of way because it's Valentine's Day. Maybe they don't have a date. They don't have a Valentine, whatever. I came on and I was real and I was raw. I came on with it. The following week, I was like, oh, that was nice. I had a little community, probably had like 20, 30 people on. Hey, we're talking. And I found out that there was this community, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. There was this community of other people like me who felt the same way, but nobody was talking about it.
Exactly.
Nobody was talking. It was taboo. Don't talk about it. I had people tell me, I've given up on love. I've given up because I'm doing this singles show. And I'm like, why would you say I'm giving up on love and I'm giving up on dating and you just don't want anybody anymore? I had that told to me. You don't want anybody anymore. You're doing that show. That's a cop out. That's just your way out. And, you're never going to get anybody doing a show like that.
What?
Okay. Yeah, it's been going on 8 years, but that has nothing to do with why I'm not in a relationship right this minute. Doesn't mean I won't be. But that show and that topic had nothing to do with, if anything, it grew me more spiritually. It bonded other like-minded brothers and sisters who were feeling the same way we were. And honestly, how it made me feel, and a lot of the majority of the people on the show, it made us feel empty again, lonely, and also like a leftover. Like just a leftover. Like that's the last ministry that people want to be bothered with. Everything is geared. It's geared to couples. Things are geared to couples. The singles, it's like, oh, let's give them some programming too. Let's throw them something. It was always the leftovers. And I'm like, we are not leftovers. We are overcomers. We're overcomers. I mean, look at the single population. We're the ones who are trying to get by ourselves. We don't have a mate to help us. Right. And I'm not saying that because somebody has a mate, that means they're getting help. That's a whole nother show. Right.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show.
When you say next month?
Let's go. I'm ready. I am ready because I'm always ready to talk about this. Like I'm always back.
Are you really?
We're living. Yeah. I look at it this way. I'm living, walking, breathing, single person.
Got it.
Single person. Recently I've been out. I'm doing better at group settings with people who are different, some people are married, some people are dating, they're engaged, couples, whatever. And I find that when I'm the only single one, it's hard. It's really hard. And then some people say, oh, it shouldn't matter. We're all people. No, it matters.
Or how about when they say, girl, marriage ain't all that it's chalked up to be.
Then why are you married?
And how about you let me find out? Why are you married? And let me find out.
Let me find out.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that one. And the other famous one is, well, Jesus is my husband. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Why would he have the institution of marriage if he was everybody's husband? Okay, then why are people married?
Oh, so you know what you missed? Did you catch the part where I said in the beginning where I was talking about a lot of questions that people have, and one of them was dating as a woman of God or a man of God. And I was like, God created Adam, then he shortly after created Eve because he realized that he needed a companion. And then shortly thereafter, I was like, okay, Falasha, how do you justify Paul telling us like sometimes you're better off single? So, and it was like, I don't know that that's right though, right? I guess it's can I tell you how I feel?
You can.
I'm angry. Mm-hmm. I'm resentful. Mm-hmm. I'm bitter. And yeah, those are the top three that I feel right now at this stage because I feel like I'm a pretty amazing woman.
You are.
And no, like for real though.
Yes.
Like in my day-to-day life that you don't get to see, right? Mm-hmm. I know that I'm a pretty amazing woman. And what's up? Like that's how I feel like what's up? Like I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
And then on top of that, I don't feel like I'm making any impact. Like for me it's like, okay, so I'm single. Okay, so if you're gonna have me single, at least have me being productive.
Yeah.
And productive not meaning at work. Productive meaning something for the kingdom. Something like, and what do you want? Like, what do you want me to do? These are the conversations I have with God, right? With God, because in my mind, the relationship is father-daughter. right?
Yes.
And he knows that I'm his spoiled little brat sometimes, right? So there's certain areas in my life where I don't worry, right? So like currently my leasing office, they don't want to renew my lease, right? Because they can make more money from, right? So, but I'm not worried about that part. I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, I'm not resentful about that because I know God got it. Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even put thought to it. And I caught myself the other day opening the fridge, like thinking, like, Flasha, you realize like these people are not trying to renew and you don't even care. No, I don't. And I'm not putting nothing away. I'm not packing nothing. I'm not doing them because God got this. But when it comes to my relationship and my singleness, it's like, why don't I have that level of confidence that God got this? And is it my fault that is it because I don't have that same level of confidence where he's like, well, you know, I got this, so why don't you know I got that? And then when I think about some of the guys that I've been with, that I've dated, I don't want them. I'm glad I never married. I'm glad God took them out of me. I'm glad he ignored my prayers and my cries and my please bring them back. Please let him, please let him.
Please, baby.
Yes, I'm so glad because my life would just be miserable right now, right? But here I am. Here I am. And I'm not, I'm a woman that I don't want to do anything but be a wife. Can I tell you that? Like, I am happy getting up in the morning cooking. I'm a traditional woman for sure. Like, I'm the type, I'll go to work and I'm still coming home and cooking. I'm still doing the laundry. I'm still dropping off if I don't feel like ironing, I'm still bringing it to the laundromat. And if you feel like you want to start a business, I'm supporting that 100% with whatever it is that I need to do and how we need to do to make this work, right? And if you feel like you want to change your job, no problem, because I'm working. So there's and I'm not asking for Louis, I'm not asking for Tiffany's, I'm not asking for private jets to fly me around the world. So what's up? Like, that's how I be feeling like, so what's up? And it's like crickets. He's like, chirp, chirp. And I'm just like, okay, God, I mean, but you want me to, but all right. But I'm not even doing anything productive in your ministry. Like, to some people, they might say, no, Flasha, you are. But no, I know my capabilities and I know the capacity that I have and I know who I am, how God created me, and I'm falling short. And it's like, so if you're not going to give me a husband to keep me occupied, can you give me something else to keep me And then I can hear the religion people and the Christians that are eating the steak while I'm still drinking Infamil, saying, because God has you in a standstill right now, you just need to be still and just trust God. And I don't want to hear that neither. And God knows that about me. So maybe you don't know that out there, but I'm going to tell you, God knows that I'm not trying to hear that, which is why none of the scriptures that I have found has told me to be still.
You said a mouthful.
I did.
But a mouthful that I resonate with.
Oh.
I've been there. Still there. Right now. A couple days ago, I had that moment again where I was like, what in the world? Why? That big question, right? Why? Why is this happening to me? Why is it not happening? Is more like it. Why is it not happening? And I get that too. Oh, it's God, he's testing you. He's this, he's that. I've heard it all. And I'm not saying that it isn't true. I'm just saying that I've heard it. And so it's hard. How do you tell somebody who, when they're going through the thing, and the one thing you said too, I have an issue with this, is it's like you trust God in every other area. There could be 25 other categories, but when it comes to love and relationships and dating and marriage and engagement and all of that, all of a sudden it's like this hard, arduous task that's never gonna happen. Or it's like, well, how is he gonna do it?
Right.
How is he gonna? And then I look and I say, okay, well, I have a good job, I have a loving family, I have great friends. I'm into art. I do all this stuff, ministry and all that. But why in this area does it seem like it's lacking? And then you get into the comparison game. Then you get into the blaming yourself game. I must have done something wrong. I'm being punished. And I say I was going to talk about my book today, some of the things in my book, but a lot of it was based off of my experience. And it's like, no, you're not being punished, you're being polished, which is a totally different thing. And what I've been trying to do just in the last few months is just to try to look at things differently, to try to take myself out of myself and look at the situation from above.
Yes.
It's hard.
But you have to do it.
But I have to.
You have to.
You have to look at it like, sometimes I'll tell my friends, I'm going to tell you a story like it's not me, and have them tell it back to me and see how it sounds. And then I go, oh, that sounds crazy. But they're like, that's what you just told me. Oh, I would never do that, but that's what you just told me. Sometimes hearing it from somebody else or telling the story, having somebody else tell it back to you, then you realize how crazy it sounds sometimes.
That's why therapy is good. I love my therapist for that, because I talk to her, and as I'm hearing myself saying it, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. And she's like, yes, my dear. And then she gives me the Christian response, and I'm just like, can you be my therapist right now? And not my Christian therapist, please. But yeah, no.
I am completely for it. I can't believe I am on here live saying it. I'm in it too.
Really?
Christian counseling. Amazing.
Did you say you can't believe you're on here saying it live? Why?
The stigma.
Really?
There's still a stigma.
Really? I think,
Really.
That is so unfortunate.
So I just said it, and she's amazing. So
yeah. Listen, I've been in therapy since I was like 15. Okay, and it started out because I was like, that's a whole nother story. But I've been in there for a long time, but off and on. But I remember when I was in Jamaica, I sought a therapist, and I was paying her cash out of my pocket, like. Didn't care. There was no insurance, no help, no copay, because I believe in therapy not for anybody else but for myself, because I need a neutral person who knows nothing about me, who has no motive. She wins or gains nothing from hearing me say what I'm saying, and in hearing me saying what I'm saying to her, I get to hear it too. Yeah. And whether she judges me or not, I don't care, because. It doesn't matter to me, because I'm paying you to be my sounding board, and but I'm very disappointed to hear that in 2024 therapy and counseling still has a stigma. My children have therapists. Like it's like their passports. They're required to have a passport, and they're required to have a therapist. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like right now, I'm trying to find one for my teenage daughter. She already had one, but she needs one because I don't have all the answers. Her friends, I definitely don't want her talking to her friends about whatever she's thinking or talking about. And there's certain things that she's not going to want to talk to me about first, right? And so to me, it's like, it has nothing to do with mental health, like mental illness. And even if you do, I have a mental illness. I'm neurodivergent. I have ADD, right? So I'm on the spectrum, technically, by that. But what caused that? Trauma, built up trauma, and not knowing how to process it, and not knowing how to deal with it. And then having the therapy off and on, and learning therapy initially to lie, right? Because I had to lie because the therapy was court mandated. So I couldn't really let them know that my mother was doing what she was doing, because then they would take me somewhere else so it's a lot. But there's no reason why we today, because to negate therapy and counseling means that you're negating that we have overcome and been through so much years, hundreds of years of trauma that has been passed down to us, generation after generation. Just because we're not in shackles anymore doesn't mean that we're not still impacted by slavery. And what it does is PTS is real. And so it's so sad to hear that, because we should be, I want to brag about how dope my therapist is, because if you don't have my therapist, you don't really got a therapist, right? That's how I think it should be, but I guess no, and that's so not cool.
It's not, it's not even healthy.
It's not.
It's not healthy. And the one thing I will say, because I've had this conversation with several of my church girlfriends, I'll say that. And everybody, it's one of those things like online dating. Maybe it works for somebody. Great for them. Maybe it doesn't work for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
But what I really, really have a hard time with is when somebody tells me that you're doing it because Jesus wasn't enough.
Oh no.
And I've had people, that's their outlook on it, is you're doing that. Well, I guess Jesus wasn't enough for you. You went out, and I'm not going outside of him for this. I'm still within him. And I look at it like you're talking to a friend. Like you said, a neutral friend who doesn't know your background like that, doesn't know the people you know, and they're Christian. And we talk about scripture, and we talk about our day, and we talk about just how to navigate things. How it's just, I don't see it any different than you talking to your friends at school. You talking to your coworkers in the lunchroom. It's kind of the same.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same. Now, maybe the advice that they're giving you is not correct or sound, but you're having a conversation. And it's funny. My therapist actually told me this. She said, for some reason, when you're sick, when you have a brain injury, all this stuff, they're quick. You're quick. Yeah, get the doctor to do something. But when it has to do with your mind and your soul, nope. Off limits.
Right.
Off limits. You should be fine. You should be fine. Or I didn't have one and I'm fine.
You sure?
Are you really fine?
Right. Are you really fine? For real?
Really?
Like, are you sure you're fine? Are you sure? Let's talk about that.
Because look at me. I didn't have one. And when I was coming up, we didn't. Listen. I don't. I feel like the time that we're living in is the time that we're living in. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't go back. We can't go forward right now. We're here in it. So to tell me about some other time of the past, what you did, what worked, it's not relevant. It's apples and oranges to 2024. I'm dealing with October the 6th, 2024. And me saying that, I have to give a shout out to my goddaughter who turned 25 today.
Happy
Michaela.
birthday
Yes.
to
If you hear this, if you see this, Auntie is wishing you a phenomenal happy 25th birthday to Michaela J. Williams.
Happy birthday.
It's amazing. Amazing girls. I'll play this for her later. But, in terms of dating, in terms of any kind of relationship, and I know you and I have talked about this too. I'm about to veer off a little bit, but in the area of friendships in the church where there's different disagreements, conflict, ghosting. I'm going to say it again, ghosting. And I feel like, and I don't know if it's a church culture or not, but it's the behavior of, I do something to you, you do something to me, I do something to you, we're hurting back and forth, and then somebody stops, and the way you deal with it is you just ghost the person. So you did your due, you did whatever you did, nasty, whatever you did, and then you just disappear. So you get off. Basically, it's like, oh, I don't have to deal with this because I just remove myself. Or people, I need my peace. I'm removing myself because I need my inner peace. Okay. You're removing yourself in this situation because you don't want to face it, because that means you have to be accountable.
Right.
And that means that you have to have accountability to someone. You may need to apologize. You don't want to do that, so you just run.
Or pretend like you, or pretend like you don't, or pretend like you didn't do anything.
Yeah, pretend like, I love that one. I've been reading a lot about the worst thing you can do to somebody is ignore them. That is one of the most traumatic things to do to somebody. That is one of the most hurtful. That's why they have solitary confinement, because the impact and the level of loneliness that leads to, and in the mind, it plays tricks on you and your psyche, is when someone does that and they know, and they're intentionally doing it to hurt you, to ignore. What do you do with that when you feel like you've extended the olive branch? I've been having this conversation with a couple of friends for the last few months, and I have other friends who are going through similar situations, right? You've extended the olive branch time and time again, 2-3 times. Nothing. What do you do?
What do you mean, nothing, no response?
No response. And I know people say, oh, well, that's your answer, that's your closure, they didn't respond. But still, you know that that person owes you an apology. And you've done it. You've done the Christian thing. You've reached out 1, 2, 3 times.
Whew. What do you do? What do you do? What would I do? I'm not the best person to ask because I am. The first thing I do is I assess my people around me, immediately, just because of who I am and how I am and what life has taught me. So, and it's not necessarily to judge or whatever, but it's to compartmentalize, to protect myself.
Yeah.
So, I grew up, my version of the story is my parents got together, they got this girl, they were young, they didn't want the kid. They realized, oh, we messed up, we don't want the kid. My grandmother, my father's mother was like, well, my mother's mother was like, I came to America I can't do this, right? And then my father's mother was like, all right, I'll take her. I'm in Jamaica, I'm comfortable, I can take this little girl and raise her. So in my mind, I was abandoned and neglected by my parents, right? So I learned to detach. I had to learn to detach myself. So every time I flew to America, every summer I came here, and they thought they were doing me a great thing, right? Yeah. To spend time with my mom and my dad, my mother's side of the family, because I rarely saw my mom. When it was time to leave, I had to learn to detach myself from that for self-protection, right? To protect myself, self-preservation. Yeah. And I'm talking like 5 years old, 6, 7, That's 8, heavy. 9, 10, 11, 12, those ages growing up, right? And I remember crying throughout the whole 4-hour, 5-hour flight when I was younger. Wow. And then so I say all that to say that I know that sometimes people respond to certain things based on their childhood and experiences that they've had in their lives. And so immediately I would, like in that situation as you were talking, I had a bunch of questions like, what is this person's background? Did they grow up alone? Did they grow up with a single mom? Did they have any abuse in their life? Because people shut down sometimes and don't want to deal with what they've done because of how they've learned how to deal with stuff. Yeah. So like my father would, and not that his father, but just because I observed how I know the love. I don't doubt that they love me, like a maternal, instinctive love, right? But we don't have that bond, that connection. But so my father's way of dealing with it is just not acknowledging any responsibility in that way, right? Likewise, my mom, but she tries a little more. But there's some distance between me and my dad, particularly, right? But so I've learned that there's guilt. When there's guilt there, right? And you're not ready it's not even that you're not ready, you just don't know how to process that responsibility of what you've done to me, then you kind of hide. And it's not hiding to hurt you, it's hiding because they're embarrassed.
Embarrassment.
To me, I feel like a shame and embarrassment for them. Because at some point, I truly believe that at some point in life, every night before we go to bed, we replay the day. Yeah. And we know when we've done something that was wrong, Christian or not, of the world or not. You process and you think back and you say, oh, I probably could have handled it. Or I did it. And I think that's, in that situation, if you've extended the olive branch 3 times, 4, 10, and they're still, that's not you. That's not a you thing anymore. That's a them thing that they can't process, and they don't even understand why you're still caring enough to extend that, because they truly probably feel like they don't deserve the type
that part. Yeah. You know, and that took me a long time to get to that point of me taking myself out of myself and looking at the situation from a different perspective and trying to get in the mind of that other person and saying like, wow, why would they ever do that? Or why are they not responding? And it's more about, well, I would respond. You know, I put myself back in myself and I say, but if this happened to me, I would respond. Why are they not responding? But it has to do with that person, you know, and there's nothing I can change about it. There's nothing I can do about it. I just feel like I think I have issues with, like, it's not even so much separation, but I'm the opposite. I get attached. So my personality is, if you're in my life and we're friends, I can tell immediately if we connect, you're in my life. Like, I don't think about it. I don't put it into categories. And one of the things I was going to talk about leading into this was, the name of my book was actually going to be this, which is my mantra, is I may not be high up on your chain, but I'm linked to God. Amen. At the end of the day, I don't care whose chain you want to be up on and who's high up in the hierarchy. We're all linked. We're all linked to God. And when I go back to things like this and relationships and romantic relationships and dating apps and things like that, for me, it goes back to I don't put people in categories. If we're all in this chain link, you're over there, you're on this side, but we're all connected. So I don't get the
categories.
Why the categories? And I feel like because that's my approach, everybody else doesn't have that approach. And I was even having a conversation with my dad this morning. He said, you know, people are funny. And when you no longer can help them, when who I am no longer is serving you, then you disappear. People drop like hot potatoes. And that's another people-pleasing thing. I'm going through that too, is, you know, realizing, accepting that I am a people pleaser. I'm less of one now, but that goes along with it because it's like pleasing these people and serving all these people is taking precedence over me taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it's dangerous. So then I feel like I owe this one and I owe that one. And I'm supposed to go out with 35 people tomorrow night. How am I going to juggle it? I told 25 people yes. I do have from 7:25 to 7:40. I think I can go meet so-and-so. And from 7:45 to 8:15, I can take this Zoom call. And from 8:15 to 9, I can talk this friend off the ledge. I can't. And I finally got to this point. It was like maybe 6 months ago. It took me a long time. And I'm now saying no. Nice. I am saying no. It was hard for me. It still doesn't roll off of my tongue. I process immediately. And I go, yep, I can do it. Yeah, it'll probably take me this long. Yep, I can do it. Okay, yes. But I've already figured, well, other people, it's the opposite. They're already like, nope, I can't do that. I can't do that because I got this. No, me, it's me building up to my yes. But now to retrain my brain, and even to me, it even applies with this whole dating thing, with the apps and everything. I know now, I don't even want to waste my energy on it. I don't, and I'm not bashing it for anybody. Anybody that's watching, I'm not bashing. I know plenty of people that it worked really well for them. Yeah. Christian dating sites, it worked really well. Nice. You've got to have the patience. You got to have the stamina and my heart cannot take all of those different, well, maybe this is going to work. And then I'm going to go on 5 dates and it leads to nothing. So where does that leave me? Where does that leave me?
I mean, it gives you a lot of content. If you do, my sister told me to like start using my dating experiences as content for stuff. But which in theory sounds like a great idea, but no. I know but anyway. 2 things. You said something about categories, right? Like why people put people in categories, and there was something else that you said after that. That you say yes. You lead up to yes, where some people say no. And the third thing, that's sometimes people are funny, right? Some people are funny.
It's funny.
But it's not, I don't know that people are funny. I think they're just different. They have a different approach. They do things differently. Because normally when you say funny, it means like they're they're not. Something's like they're shady. They're
yeah,
there's
it's
some
not
shade.
necessarily shady.
Right.
Yeah, it's different.
So, which is why I always immediately process. I need to get to know you. Like there's some key elements to who you are that I need to know about you before I determine where I'm placing you.
Right.
Because, and that's not good, because then I'm limiting and restricting where our friendship or relationship can go. And that's because I'm protecting myself, and I've determined that, you and I'm a disappear. Like, here, this is me. Once I've decided that I like you and I rock with you, I don't need to talk to you every day. I don't even need to talk to you over the last 5 years. But if you call me right now and say, Flasha, I'm in Boston and I don't have anywhere to stay, you can come over immediately.
Yeah.
And
it's based off of that friendship, that relationship.
Yeah, because once you're in, you're in.
You're in.
But it doesn't have to be like a consistent all the time. And there's friends of mine that don't like that, right? So they'll reach out to me, and right now my mind is just not there for what they come with. So I can't do that. And it's hard to say to someone, I can't deal with what you come with right now. But I do, like, now I'm the person that people say I'm rude. I'm rude, like straightforward, blunt, whatever. But I remember growing up, like in America, when I was here in America, because in Jamaica you had a uniform, so it was just, and my grandmother made sure I had those. But in America, it's style, right? And my mom wasn't buying me no clothes, right? So I remember thinking I was fly, but I really wasn't fly. And people were laughing at me behind my back. And I wished that someone, one person, would have just said to me, Flasha, no, that's not it. That ain't it. That don't look right. Or something's off today. But nobody did. And my personality is my personality. I'm very much like, hey, everybody, what's up? Like, I know the answer. I'm not shy. I'm not. So imagine not thinking you right, thinking you look right, thinking you fly, you hip, have this Jamaican accent, and thinking you got all the answers, you know all the answers, thinking you cool with everybody, but they're laughing at you. So because of that, I am very much, if I care about you, I'm telling you immediately, there's lipstick on your teeth. Switch that around. No, you can't. That doesn't fit you. That doesn't look right. And people don't like that. Even at work, like, it's not like work more. It's like, no, that's not how you do this. This is how you do this. And people don't like it. But
we need it, because
they don't like
we don't have enough.
They don't like it.
Direct people.
They don't like it. I'm rude. I'm hard to work with. I am combative. Not combative. I haven't heard that one. I'm almost like that angry black woman type of syndrome that they want to give me.
But it's because it's your background. It's your experiences. And from me, what I know of you, there's reasons for all of that. Because it goes back to, you said, the protection. You're trying to protect yourself. You wouldn't have to worry about the stuff that I worry about, because you've already warded it off. Like, you're not bringing me that junk. Me, I'm not like, oh yeah, you can bring me the junk. That was the person I was you could dump on me. You could tell me all your I'm on the phone with people all hours of the night, and I'm like, wait a minute, am I a counselor?
How many people are there for you when you need them?
Hardly. Let me not say that. Not as many as I'm there for.
Exactly.
Put it that way.
That's when
that's what I stopped.
Yep.
That's when I put my foot down. I've been listening to it. I'm going to quote him. There's this guy named Jefferson Fisher, I believe. He's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And he tells you how to argue, and how to, get your point across, how to be more aggressive, how to say no. And one of the biggest things he pretty much always leads with is, how is that going to affect you, whether you say yes or no to somebody? Mm-hmm. And so he's given me some tools. I probably shouldn't say them because I may be using it on people. But one of the things I love, because I'm sure these people are never going to see this broadcast. So anyways, one of the things that I really, really love about when you tell somebody no, it's not always as easy as just no and you walk away. Some of these same people will ask you why. Mm-hmm. So when people come to me and say, oh, it's really easy, they ask you to do that and you know you can't do, just say no and walk away. I'm like, that's number one, not my personality. But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna ask me why. And that's the part that I needed help with. So he said, there's a few things you can say. He said, you can let them know that is not in my focus right now. He said, stop, talk calmly, speak clearly, don't talk too fast. That is not in my focus right now. And he said 9 times out of 10, they're not even gonna ask you anything else. After you say that, that's kind of like shuts it down. The other thing, which is showing that you're taking care of yourself, is if you say, you know, that not so much that's outside of my focus, but that's not what's best for me.
Right now. Yep.
That's it.
Period.
That's it. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting to get to use it. I'm like, I wanna use it. I wish I could have used it like my whole life. But I'm joking and I'm saying it's simple, but it's not, because what it leads to, and that was kind of really where I'm so glad that you joined and added this
Thank
perspective, because where I was trying to lead to today was the fact that it's okay to actually say no. And I know for some people it's really simple. They're like, oh, I don't have an issue. I say no all the time. I don't care what people think. And I'm not a people pleaser. Great for you. But I am. And I'm not the only one.
No.
There's a lot of people. And there's a reason behind it. It's not because we're just these mats that people are walking over, or we're just pushovers, or we just want to please everybody. That's not what it is. It's so much deeper. And there's so many people suffering from it. And I'm trying to get people, lead them to the healing of not doing that anymore. Like, I feel so much better. And, you know, the other huge thing that I'm learning from it too is it's okay to disappoint people sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't have to disappoint them all the time. But I had this thing where it was just this weighing on me of I never want to disappoint anybody. And that's hard to carry that around. Like, you cannot walk around, you're going to disappoint somebody at some point.
Yep.
For whatever reason. You may think you're pleasing them, but you're disappointing them. And having that weight, and somebody told me, why don't you be as focused on those people not disappointing you as you are about not disappointing people?
Wow.
And that flipped everything for me, because I said, wait a minute, I'm always worried about, oh, I let them down. I don't want to let anybody down. And she said to me, the reason why you feel like that is because you've been let down.
Right. Yes.
You've been disappointed. You've had people tell you they were going to do something, they didn't do it.
Yep.
You've had people, oh, you know, I was going to come and help you, but you know what? I don't know if you guys have seen, I can't think of her name. There's these reels with this woman who she's trying to get people off the phone constantly. And she just makes up all kind of crazy stuff. And she's like, oh, let me watch my clock. I'll talk to you later. Like, she makes up anything because she doesn't want to deal with anybody. She's like, let me watch my nails dry. And then I'll talk to you later. Let me go see if I got a long distance cousin I don't know about. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
It's one of those kind of things where I've been on the other end of the phone where somebody is like really disappointed me. Like, oh, they were supposed to do all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, you know what? I was tired.
What?
I couldn't come.
Something is, no.
Yeah, I couldn't come. So now,
Selfish.
I won't take it. I don't take it the same, because I sometimes I can be on the other extreme where I'm like, oh, it's all about me. You didn't come because of me, but if it was so-and-so, you would have been all awake.
Yep, I could do that.
Not necessarily true, because now I'm learning to ask the person, oh, really? So you're tired? Okay. Are you retired? What did you do? It's like more me trying to show the concern. And then sometimes I find out they really were tired. Like they had been through something that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Then I find out afterwards and I'm like, oh, then I feel bad. I'm just like, oh, you just didn't want to come because it was me. But I'm saying all that to say it's okay to go through that process.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm in that process where I'm learning it's okay. I'm going to disappoint some people. But one thing I can say is at the end of the day, if I disappointed them, but they're really in my life, they really love me and they really care about me, they're going to understand why I had to say no, because I had to say yes to myself.
Right.
So you have to say no to other people sometimes to be able to say yes to yourself.
Amen. Amen. I used to be a people pleaser, and that was, and I sat and I processed, because I don't know, I'm just in my head, which is probably why I don't have that many friends or a man, but because I spend so much time in my head. Because I have my kids so young, and my mom wasn't really, like, my mom is not like the mom that I am, and I'm not bashing, like, my mother and I, we're past that now, right? And it's all good. But when I was younger, she was younger too. So
Yeah.
I had to really rely on other people as my support. So I dare not say no, because I might need their yes.
Yeah.
So
That part.
yeah. So
And-
that's why I was like, always like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I might have to stay.
I might need them.
I might need them to pick up my kids after school, and
I have to be.
so I have to do this because, and then it becomes that, but then that becomes the quid pro quo kind of,
Yeah.
that I do for you, you do for me, and then it's never ending. You never,
Nope.
it's just like never ending, because I still have cousins now and people that'll say, but I did this for you, and it's like, I lived at Baloo Ave. That was like, what, 1998? We're in 2024.
You're still tripping over that?
You still talking about something you did for me then? Did you really do it for me, or did you do it because there was some obligation there that I'm just not recalling right now because it's not that important, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a major people pleaser, and I used to be the person that people could, like, all my cousins were older than me, so they would talk about each other, and then they would say, Falasha said. And I'm the youngest one, and I'm kind of reliant upon them, so I just got to take the L and be like, well, now such and such is mad at me because they thought and it's like, but then we get around each other, and then they realize, but I never said that to Falasha. So how did she say it to you if she never, and then, so I've been that doormat and the people pleaser, because what else, what was my alternative? What was and I
That's it.
right? Like,
And sometimes you don't feel like you have an alternative, or
You
you
don't.
don't know that
You don't. At
and
18,
you don't know
19,
that
20.
you have an alternative.
I didn't have
You
an
think you
alternative.
have to take this.
You do.
And it's like the
You do think
minute
that.
I found out that I didn't have to take it
Mm-hmm.
is when I took the stand and I stopped.
Yep.
And I just had to stop. And if it's not best for me and it's outside of my focus, I'm not doing it.
Well, I hope Maestros ain't outside of your focus, and that's always good for you. I'm just saying. One of these days, we're going to do it for real, though.
I know, no, it's definitely not outside of my focus.
It ain't outside of mine either.
No, listen, when my wallet starts jumping again,
Got you. I mean, we there. We in there.
we're in there, but I know we're winding down, but this to me has been one of the most just amazing times, because I feel like I love the freestyle and the free flow. I'm not a scripted person. When somebody hands me a script and says, you got to say this just like this, I already know I'm messed up. I don't even like lines on paper. I don't like to,
me
I don't.
Me
My
neither.
journals, anything, please don't have lines on. My mom knows. If my mom's watching, she knows. She will not get me something with lines. I don't, because you know what it says? You have to
Stay
you have
within.
to stay within this. You're telling me how to write.
Yeah.
You're telling me how to feel. You're telling me how I have to do something. So even I can go back to my book. So if you inside of my book, I don't have the lines, and people kept telling me, why didn't you put lines under each one of your quotes? I said, because I don't want to tell people, number one, that they have to write anything about it.
Right.
Maybe they're just thinking about it. Maybe they're going to draw like me. Maybe I look at that quote and I draw something. So you put lines there, you're telling me I have to write.
Write something.
I don't like to limit people like that.
Me either. Oh,
One of
gosh.
my things. So
Amazing.
with that being said, even though I said I wasn't going to be the whole hour, I want to thank again Falasha for being my special guest.
Thank you.
Always adding just such great perspective to
you.
any show, to any talk.
Thank you for having me.
anything.
Thank you for
Always.
opening the chair for me to come out. Because when I heard you talking, I was like, wait, I don't really want to. I'm about to jump in this one
Let's
because
go.
this is my and we're for real going to do that other topic on the dating.
Oh, yeah.
We should just make that an official thing that we do at a separate time together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I am all for it.
Me too.
I'm all for it. And also thanks to our amazing engineer, Pastor Frank. Pastor Frank. So as always, it's my pleasure to have you on the Empowerment Radio Show every first Sunday from 4 to 5, where we continue to equip you for your spiritual journey. Have a great month, and I will see you in November.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Lord, you are awesome, and you are awesome in this place. Lord, you are awesome in